Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profit Show. Man, I am so glad that you're here with me today. Amanda is here with us in spirit. She's a little under the weather. She'd be here if she could, but I am here with you today, and we're going to do something special. We are going to talk about something that is seriously going to enhance your portrait photography business, and that's studio management software. Whew. Took a while to go through all that. And I review studio management software about this time every single year just to make sure that I still like my picks. There are several different studio management programs out there. We're going to talk about what it is, why we would even use it, and how to use it. But before I do that, I'm Jim Landers, and my mission, well, it's simple. I help portrait photographers just like you make a great income doing what they love. Each week, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography, designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales, reducing the struggles that most photographers face, so you can finally get what you deserve. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab. And you can go to digitalprolab.com to get more information about them and the wonderful things that they do for the photography community. Landersphotoschool.com for the classes that I offer, from the photography side all the way to the business side, and I really enjoy both. But that business side is probably a more underserved area. And so I can't believe that when I started X number of years ago, I didn't realize how important the business side was. I mean, I thought I knew. I actually did think I knew, but I was wrong. And you guys maybe have heard me say this before, but out of the 33 students that I graduated with a photography degree with, within 5 years, not a single one was left except for me. That's how important the business side is. Because in our school, I don't know about other colleges, our school didn't teach the business side, only the art side. So they taught you to be a starving artist. Good to be an artist. Not so good being starving. It makes you go do something else and abandon what it is that you love. So that's where the Portrait Profit Show comes in. We're helping you with the business side. This side actually is fun. Who'd have thought? I certainly didn't. But it has become one of my favorite parts because we are just simply helping someone else get what it is that they want. That's what sales actually is. You've just crossed paths with bad salespeople who weren't doing it right, who were trying to do one over on you. But a real salesperson is someone who helps you get what it is that you want. A helper. And that's what we are as portrait photographers. We're helping someone else get what they want. They want a beautiful photograph of themselves. They want a beautiful photograph of their family. That's what we do as portrait photographers. We help them get that. And so we listen to them. We find out what it is that they want, and we make it happen. But there's a process. There's several things that you need to go through, that you do go through. Lots of different steps. I have 31 major steps in my process. Once someone is seriously considering being a client, all the way to the photograph has been installed on their wall, there's a total of major 31 steps. Now, each one of those has some minor steps in them, but 31 major steps. It's a lot of steps. It's a lot of things to keep track of. If you only have one client, even still, that's difficult. But you're not going to make it with just one client. I mean, maybe if you're charging $100,000 for that one client, maybe you're okay. But I'm thinking you're not. So therefore, you will have lots of clients that are somewhere in the process at any given time. And in order to keep track of that, you've got to be really, really good at keeping track. Or use studio management software. You're going to love this stuff if you haven't discovered it already. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what it is and why portrait photographers should seriously consider using it. But I'm going to start off by saying it isn't the right tool for everyone, and it's not necessarily the right tool today. It may be the right tool a year from now, 6 months from now. But for some, it's just not the right tool. It depends on where you are at in your photography process. So if you're doing well right now, you really like where you're at, what you're doing, things are good, and you have a good organized system that is working and nothing's falling through the cracks, maybe you don't need it. There is also the consideration of cost. It does have a cost. I mean, sure, there's the free 14-day trial or 30-day trial. Sure. Okay, yeah, okay. But still, it's got a cost because that ends very quickly, way too quick. For most options, the cost of the software is really not that much. It's a small amount. It's totally worth it in every situation. But I understand budgets can be very tight, and even the smallest amount of increase in your budget is too much. So maybe it isn't right for you at that time if you feel that way. It does take a lot of setup time. You've got to enter in your information. You've got to learn a lot of things by watching videos, reading. Very time consuming. You've got to implement it, and you've got to become comfortable with it. Kind of like when you're driving a car, you're not thinking about when you turn the wheel, you're just turning the wheel. You're not thinking, all right, what do I need to do in order to go that way? Maybe you were when you started driving, but you're not anymore. You can use your left turn signal, change the radio station, change the temperature while talking to the person next to you without thinking, and avoiding the crazy who's about to cut you off on the right. Yeah, because you've become comfortable with driving. This is not any different. Photography business, not any different. It's difficult at first. You're uncomfortable at first. You're checking things. If you're during a session, maybe you're checking posing guides because you're not sure what to do next. This is something. Now, I'm not saying the plans that you make checking that, because you do that all the way through your career. But as far as checking general posing ideas, if you're doing that, it's just an indicator that you're relatively new, and that's great. You're pushing through that process. It's becoming normal to you. It's just a step in the process. It's a fantastic step in the process. But when you're doing the studio management software, it takes a lot of time for setup. It takes a lot of time to learn it, to read about the different parts, to see which things apply to you, to watch the videos, to implement the software, and then finally, over time, become comfortable with it. In the long term, a properly used studio software management program. By the way, it does say studio a lot of times. You could put the word photography in there. It doesn't necessarily mean a physical studio. That's the type of software that it is. So you could call it photography management software. That might be easier for you to remember. But I call it SMS because that's what I've been calling it for the 20 years that I've been paying attention to it. In the long term, a properly used SMS is what ties everything together. SMS, Studio Management Software, is what ties everything together, saves you time, and makes your life, as well as your client's life, easier. And in my opinion, with the software tools that are available today, there is little reason to choose against using the software, because it will free your time. Not at first. It'll take a lot more time at first because you're getting used to it. But it will free your time. You'll automate processes. Some you didn't even realize you could. And so much more. You may have heard of a CRM, a customer relationship management software program. By the way, I like to change that C for customer to C for client. I call the people I work with clients rather than customers. Studio management software is a CRM. So if you've heard of a CRM before, customer relationship management program, a studio management program is a CRM. It's just that it's made for photographers or other creatives. It's a database software that is used to collect, store, and analyze information, making it easier to manage the processes with your prospects and clients. When used correctly, it will build stronger communications, gain insight as to client behavior, and streamline your business in all of its processes, which is going to result in increased sales. It's going to result in increased profitability, meaning even if your sales were the same, your profitability is going to go up because you're tracking things. It builds stronger relationships. It organizes your business, and a lot more. Tons more. So fantastic stuff. Hopefully, so far I've already caused you to realize this is good stuff. I see that Robin has made a comment. Good day to you too, Robin. I'm glad you're here. And you're able to watch it live instead of the recorded version. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're able to do that. By the way, I encourage you guys to do what Robin has done. Comment. I encourage you to ask questions. Now, I may not see them right away because when I have my notes up, it blocks the screen. And so I may not see it right away, but I do go and check on it regularly. But I encourage you to make comments, to ask questions. And I also encourage, hello, Facebook user. By the way, for Facebook user, you can choose to remain anonymous, or let's see, you can before leaving a comment, grant StreamYard permission to see your name at streamyard.com/Facebook. Now, you don't need to type all that in, because if you go back to the original post, you'll see a link to it. So just click that link and I'll be able to see your comments. That's, again, if you don't wish to remain anonymous. If you wish to remain anonymous, then don't click that link, because then I'll know who you are. And I might call you out like I did Robin. But I want to know who it is that I'm talking with. So please do that. Let's see. Hey, Miguel. Glad you're here. Always good that you're here. And let's see. So in addition to making comments and asking questions and saying hello, I encourage those likes and loves. I can see that one person's already liked this show today. I like those likes. I really love those loves. So if you don't mind, if it's not too much effort, go over to that little like button or love button and give me a like, give me a love. I love you guys. That's why I spend so much time in preparation for this show. So all I'm asking for is that little click, a nice little comment every once in a while. Yeah, I'm encouraging all that interaction. I want to see you do that. I want to know who's here. So thank you for doing that. I'm glad you're here too, Miguel. Awesome. So I guess I can take that one off now. There we go. So we are talking about studio management software. Again, you could call it photography management software. In fact, in just a moment, I'm going to tell you a really good reason why you should call it that, even though that's not its original name. But studio management software, or SMS. Every once in a while, I think of there's a PPA has a section called SMS, and it is not studio management software. It's something else. So every once in a while, that's what crosses my mind when I'm saying it. But studio management software is what we're talking about. Srini, glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Fantastic. Nice. All right, so let's talk about what you should know before you start your studio management software. There's some things that really should be in place. This is exciting enough where if you're hearing about this for the first time and you haven't started your business, this is exciting enough to give you that push to actually get your business started, because this is exciting stuff. Using this program, you can just jump leaps and bounds above people who aren't using it very quickly. I just noticed someone yesterday who's only been doing this for not long, a couple of months. And this person has jumped way above people who have been doing this 5 and 10 years, and they've only been doing it for a few months. And it's because they're using a software management program. Seriously, it is a game changer. There's a lot of game changers. This is one major one. So thanks, Dave. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the compliment. It lifts me up, and I appreciate that kind of thing. So yes, of course, I am happy to do these weekly sessions, and happy to share the information that I've come across over the years. So thank you for that kind comment. I appreciate that. All right, so the things that you should know before starting your software management program. I want you to define your business goals. Now, if you've watched Portrait Profits show before, you've heard me say this practically every time. I mean, it's the same thing as when you decide you're going to go somewhere, you're going to drive to somewhere and accomplish something and then go back. So if you're going from that point A to point B, you're defining what the point B is. There's a lot of photographers that they just simply do not define point B. And that's a beginning spot. I mean, photographers who haven't defined what it is that they want are like drivers who get out on the road and go, "Oh, this is fun. I'm on the road. Wow. Well, that looks like a nice road. I'm going to take that one. Oh, I bet I could see the sunset really good from that road. I'm going to take that one." I don't know that there's any business advantage to doing such a thing. And every once in a while, you should have some days where you're not real focused. Sure. Moments where you're not focused, where you're doing other things, focus on something else. Sure. But to go into business not knowing where you're heading, not knowing what point B is, guys, that makes no sense. I bet you know it. Maybe you haven't done it, but maybe you have. Those of you who have, you know the difference. It makes a big difference. Define your business goals. What do you want? What are you trying to accomplish here? Now, of course, you've got to define that for yourself too. I'm making an assumption that you've already defined who you are and what it is that you want. If you haven't defined you, definitely start there. But for business, you have to define what your business is. What is it that you're after? What are the things you're trying to accomplish? What is this for you? What is this for your clients? Know your mission statement. Write it down if you haven't already, but know your mission statement. Know your value statement, your vision statement. These have to be in place. I've got to know what I'm going to do, and I absolutely recommend that you have these in your work environment. So every decision you make goes through that filter just by default because they're there. Next, I want you to define your target market. Define your target market. So this is what you should do before starting your SMS. So define your business goals, define your target market. Next, well, let's talk about target market. These are the people you want to work with. For low volume portrait photographers, we get to pick and choose. If you don't like working with a certain personality type, don't. If you don't want to drive an hour away to do something, don't. I do in-person sales, which to me is just sales. It's the way that it should be, in my opinion. I know not everybody agrees with that, and that's fine. You don't have to. You can do it your way. You should do it your way. But I choose to do in-person sales because I know that I am the pro. I know that they're not. So therefore, there are things that I know that they can't. Their life is something else that they're professional at, that they're really good at. But it isn't photography, or they wouldn't be hiring me for it. Occasionally you get a photographer who's hiring another photographer, but take that out of the picture. I'm the pro. I know every step of the process. I've done it thousands of times. Seriously. I know it. I know more than they do about the process of creation of a photograph to its final place on the wall so that they can enjoy it and cry tears of joy every time they pass by. I know how to do this because I've done it thousands of times. I can't expect them to know it, so I choose not to sell my digital files. I choose to take it to its completion. Completion for a family portrait, which is what I specialize in. A family portrait is something that goes up on the wall framed if appropriate, which many times it is, and installed properly in the correct size up on their wall. So I want to target people who want that. And you may think, oh man, where are you going to find those? You don't find them. They find you if you've done your marketing correctly. If you're chasing after your clients, you're doing it wrong. You're hustling, and that's a good thing, but your hustle could be placed somewhere else and get you greater results. Oftentimes when I tell someone what my average sale is for a family portrait, they're like, where do you find those clients? I don't. I do not seek them. I just tell people what I do, and they come and get me. It's just like the things on the shelf at a tool store or at a grocery store. People go in and they grab the things that they feel like they want or need. There's not a salesperson in the grocery store who's trying to sell me the can of beans. They're not chasing me. They know that I am there because I want it already. So if your marketing is effective, if you've chosen your target market based on what it is you want, who it is you want to work with, doing the things that you want to do that make you happy, they find you. Yeah, I can help you with that. Just reach out to me. I can help you make that happen. If you feel like you've been chasing your clients and having difficulty finding them, we have a lot to work on. All right, enough on that one. Define your business processes. I mentioned before, I have steps that I do. There's 31 total, and those are major steps. There are sub-steps that I go through from the beginning, and that's beginning for a client is a planning session, which is just before they've paid me for the creation fee. And so they haven't actually become a client, but they're just far from it. And so I put them in that category already. So from that point all the way to the images printed, framed, installed on their wall. And for me, there's one step further than the installation, actually a couple of steps. I photograph the installation because I want it for my marketing. I photograph the family in front of it, again, marketing. I do a video testimonial of them, thrilled. I mean, they've just received this. It's on their wall. They are the most thrilled they're going to be. So that, again, marketing purposes. And then once I leave, I already have a custom thank you card, and I write how much I enjoyed visiting with them, and I put that in the mail for them to receive the next day. So there's a few steps that happen after that. But you have to define whatever your business processes are, whatever they are. You're not wrong if you don't do it the same way I do it. You're right if you don't do it the same way I do it. It just matters that you have a process. Now, you're going to have multiple processes and sub-processes. Yes, of course. For instance, I haven't talked about this yet, but you've got a prospect to client process. This is the marketing, or some may call it a client funnel. And then you've got the client processes. These are sales. These are once a sale has been made, what are the processes? The one I just mentioned. So once they become a client, what is your process? What's your planning session process? What happens before? What happens after? And then, of course, during. What about your photography session? What happens before? What happens during? What happens after? Your processes. The post-production work that you do. What are your processes? Write them down. This being up in your mind, not good enough. Not good enough, guys. Maybe if you've got a photographic memory, but I don't know even then if that's a good idea. Write your processes. Every single one. Yes, this is going to take you some time, but you will analyze what it is that you're doing, and you will make it better than it's ever been before because of it. Portrait selection. When they have an opportunity to look at the photographs, some people just put them online and they post the images and they pray that someone orders some prints. Post and pray method is I don't recommend it. There are times when it's appropriate though. Let's say you photograph weddings. The guests, the only way they're going to see those photographs is if you post them. So therefore you're going to pray that they order something. By the way, I have a process for that, and I share it with all my students. I don't hold anything back. Post-production, portrait selection, and then finally, what's your product finishing? What do you do? What are your steps? Once someone has ordered, either in person or some other way, what are your processes? What are your steps? What do you do? Because even if you do drop shipping because you have people order online and you don't have anything to do with it, completely hands off, which is appropriate in some instances, not for what I do, portrait photography, family portrait photography, but for some things it is totally appropriate. What is it that you do? And it could be just as simple as checking on them, checking on where it's at in the process, sending them a thank you card. What are your processes? Let's go over those again real quick, just in case. Once they become a client, what do you do? The planning session, the photography session, post-production, portrait selection, and product finishing. Those are the major categories of the client sales process. By the way, I have a class on that I do every fall. So just 2 months ago we did it. And it is it's an 8-hour class, 8 hours of classroom time that we go over those things in detail. All right, so that's what you should do or know before you start a studio management software program. Now let's talk about what to look for. What do you look for in choosing your studio management program? Think about that for just a moment, because you have certain things that you do that are in your process because you're just taking the time to write all your processes down. So therefore, you want a software program that can handle these things and more, maybe things that you didn't even think of. Hey, Curtis. It's good to see you. It's been a long time. Once you have them get a rewards program to bring them back over and over, yeah, that's a good marketing tool. Absolutely. And some of the software management programs do a good job with that. Some of them don't do that at all, though. So it depends on what you want to do. But yeah, if you're a family portrait photographer like me, you want to get those clients back over and over. You want them to think about you when they think about photography. If you're a wedding photography, it's mostly onesies. They're probably not going to be calling you again next year for another one. Hopefully. So it'd be a different thing, but there are a lot of things you can do for marketing. Thank you for sharing that, Curtis. I appreciate it. And I'm glad you're here. That's fantastic. And so what to look for when choosing your studio management software. All right, hope you guys have your pen and paper and you're taking notes. I realize I'm going kind of quickly, but there's a lot to cover. Define what you want, both for you and your clients. Now, I'm thinking that's pretty obvious, and I'm hoping for you that's pretty obvious. But even just because you're thinking of it doesn't mean you're actually going to do it. And so make sure you're thinking both parties define what you and your client are going to want. What kind of experience do you want for them? So here are some things to consider. I would suggest writing these things down. The ones that you feel like you have an interest in. This is just a listing, just off the top of my head, just a listing of things that you might want. Some of them you're going to want, some of them you're not going to care about. Some of them you're not going to even realize why that might be important. Just write down the ones you think you're going to have an interest in, and then maybe put a little box next to them, and you can just check it off as you find what it is you're looking for. All right, so first one. Automated job and project workflows. Automated. Certain actions trigger the next step. Sending an email. It could be a date reminder. It could be, there's a lot of different things, but have some, make sure that the automation that you need in order to get your client through the process is part of your software. How about the next one? Marketing automation, lead management, sales funnel, whatever you want to call it, marketing automation, sales funnel, client funnel, whatever you want to call it. Next, communication tracking. When I send an email to a client, I don't want it to get lost in the abyss. I want to be able to go to the client and see the communication I have had with them. Now, if it's a phone call, some SMS programs, you can click on it and it goes through your computer and you can talk through your earbuds, your earphones. Others, if you make a phone call, you're going to have to enter it in manually. Some of them will connect with your phone. If this is important to you, then this is something you're looking for. I like to be able to look back at the communication I've had with my clients. And when there's holes in it, that's a little frustrating. Especially if I said I was going to do something and now I remember I said I was going to do something, but I can't remember exactly what it was. And I go back to my communication. I just look and boom, there it is, and I've got it. By the way, that shouldn't be happening very often, because whenever you've said you're going to do something, you just add it to your process. And then you get a reminder for it because it's automated. You may feel that it's important to be able to do email and texting through your software management software program. So maybe add communication via email and text. By the way, it's probably going to call that SMS, but same thing. Support for texting. Again, it's a lot of times called SMS. So don't let the SMS that we're talking about today and the SMS right there confuse you. Support for texting, if that's important to you. Another thing that could be important to you are templates. Email templates, contracts. Contracts, big one. Didn't used to be. It is today. And I like an SMS that software management system that gives some that are included, some templates that are included, but it also gives me the ability to adjust those and to add my own whenever I feel appropriate. And I think all of them do, but you want to make sure about that. How about for your calendar, support for multi-day events? I came across this problem a while back. I had a software program. It was just by the job, and you chose a date. You couldn't change it. You couldn't choose a range of dates. Some jobs just take more time. Some jobs have multiple dates. If you're a wedding photographer, you've got multiple things you're doing. Bridal portrait, engagement portrait before that, save the date. There's different things you may be doing. By the way, I don't do weddings anymore, but I used to. And one of the things I liked to do, it was it was an option. We photographed 4 different engagement sessions, and the reason is because there's 4 seasons, but also there are probably a minimum of 4 different things, different looks, different things they enjoy doing together, that I wanted to convey that one photograph didn't complete the picture. And then I'd build an album out of it. So I did 4 engagement sessions, not just 1. But that's just me. There's a lot of things I did in weddings that I don't even hear about anybody doing anymore at all. But I have a class on that. I'd be happy to show you all the different things that I included in mine. Next is client notes. They're going to say something, and you want to have a place to put those. So client notes, a note section that can be tied in with your calendar so that you can relate it. Payment plans. And I like an SMS that includes payment integration in all areas. So there's another one, payment integration. But I like to have the ability to do payment plans. Now, most of my clients don't need it, but occasionally I come across a client that that wants that, and I will do that. You don't have to. That's totally up to you. The first several times that someone just the total came to $5,000 and they just handed me a card. The first time or two that happened, I was kind of surprised by that they didn't ask for a payment plan. But I'm prepared for that when they're ready. Contract signing and storing, we mentioned that a little bit before, but contract signing and storing, meaning you can send it to them and they can return it, and it keeps it in the database with their contact info. So contract signing and storing. Next thing is the ability to do questionnaires and surveys. Now, I don't want it to just have the ability to send out a question or a survey. I want it to have the ability to track that information and show me a graph of the results. For instance, if I want to do 4 special personal projects this year, and I've narrowed it down to 7, I just can't decide which ones I want to do. I might send out a questionnaire, a survey to my clients, email it to them, maybe put it on my Facebook page, maybe Instagram. And then I let them choose the ones. Anytime I allow someone to have a say, to give them a little bit of control, my sales go up. So it works. Next is client scheduling, dates and times and online payments. There are certain things that I want my client to be able to access my calendar and schedule me so that I am hands-free on that. Not everything do I want to do that way, but certain things I do. So for instance, you guys could take advantage of the business assessment consultation. And I do that for free. It's 30 minutes, 30-minute private session, just you and me, talking about you and your business. All you have to do is get on my calendar and boom, we do it. We go out on a Zoom call. There's times when I share my screen with you, but it doesn't even cost you anything. It costs your time, but it doesn't cost any money. So take advantage of my business assessment consultation. Now, if you're hearing that for the first time, I probably should go get that and share with you the web address of my business assessment consultation. So give me a second to do that. There we go. I'm going to put that in the chat, in the comments. All right, so that should be popping up into your comments right now. So that's the business assessment consultation. That's where you and I get on a Zoom call and just talk about you and your business. What are you trying to accomplish? Where are we heading? Are we using the right tools to cause us to get to where it is that we're going? So that is the business assessment consultation. I'm going to, while I'm doing that, I'm going to do one more, because I do lunch with landers, where I take a photographer to lunch with me every single week. You might have to remind me to do the selfie so I can post it, because I forgot to do the selfie with the person I took to lunch last week. But the lunch with landers, let me get that for you, is on Tuesdays. I have a Rotary Club that I have gone to for 20 years nearly. When was it? It was October of 2002, so yeah, nearly 20 years. I have lunch at the Dominion for my Rotary Club every Tuesday at noon. And I take a guest with me, and I pay for your lunch. You're not paying a dime. You get to hear a speaker, because that's what they do at Rotary Clubs. They bring in speakers. Last week it was the police chief of San Antonio that was the speaker, so some of the speakers are really kind of cool. And you hear the speaker, and then afterwards, I have about a half an hour of time that I just gift you. We talk about you, your business, what it is you're doing, kind of like the business assessment consultation, but in person. And that's what the lunch with landers is. So let me post that. Again, it's free, but you just click on that link and get on my schedule. It is as simple as that. Click on the link, choose the date that works for you, and show up. Really, it's as simple as that. Make sure you show up. It's been out of the several hundred that have taken advantage of this. Two have not shown up and not said a word, just ghosted. Don't do that. Someone else could have used that time. That wasn't cool. I understand people getting sick and emergencies and stuff. So yeah, there are good reasons for it. But there's been two that nothing before, nothing since. So be there. You're probably thinking, why would anybody do that? Yeah, I'm wondering that too. But it's only been twice, so yeah, we're good. All right. So back to what to look for when choosing your studio management program, your software. Let's see. I want it to have the ability to connect with your website. Maybe it helps you build your website, and if so, it needs to be mobile friendly. Obviously, fast loading. It needs to have a search, user friendly. So, website. Next is calendar integration. I mentioned that before with something specific, but generally speaking, calendar integration with either Google Calendar or iCal. Those are the ones I care about the most. So if you're an Apple user, then you care about iCal. If some Apple users and everybody else, Google Calendar. There are lots of other calendars out there. These are just the ones that are the easiest that most programs are already set up to handle without having to use a third-party integration API like Zapier. So I prefer to use Zapier, to not use Zapier if I don't have to, but just know that if your software program doesn't connect well with some other software program, there is integration software called Zapier. It's an API. I don't even know what that stands for. Software that causes two different softwares, if they aren't already able to talk to each other, to be able to talk to each other. Zapier. Next one on my list is access restrictions. If you've got employees, and if you don't, then this is an irrelevant thing. If you have people who are going to be getting into your software program, I want access restrictions. Not all employees need access to everything. If you have some other third-party company helping you with marketing, helping you with sales, helping you with bookkeeping, different things, you don't need those other people who are having access to everything in your program. So access restrictions is one of the things that I recommend. Next, support for multiple brands. Now, if you have a boudoir photography business and a family portrait business, you probably market these separately. They probably have different names, different websites, everything's separated. And so I don't want to have to buy another software program. I don't want to have to pay another subscription just because I have these two different things. By the way, I don't have the two different things, but if I did, then I would not want to have to pay another subscription for this. That would be a pain. And so in that instance, I recommend that your SMS has support for multiple brands that you may be working with. Support for multiple brands. The next one, support for exporting data. Now, most of them have this, so it's not an issue for most. But I want to be able to export my data, prospects, clients, sales, pricing, financials. I want to be able to export this stuff. I want integration with QuickBooks because I use QuickBooks. And if you use some other program, maybe you want integration with that. But your bookkeeper and your CPA are going to appreciate that. They don't want to learn your SMS program. They already know QuickBooks. So that's why I want it to have integration with QuickBooks. Pretty much all of them have that. Back office. Scheduling staff. If you've got staff, then I want a back office scheduler. I want multiple photographers and staff scheduling. I want it to be able to schedule resources in addition to people and manage multiple things. So back office. I want it to have a back office component. Again, that is scheduling staff, it's scheduling resources. I also want it if you want this, if you have people that you need to pay, that could be independent contractors or employees. But if you've got people you need to pay, payroll support. Now you may think, well, QuickBooks has that. That's fine. That's fine. You could do it that way. But I think I would like to have payroll support in my SMS. It's one of those things I can pass on though, because QuickBooks has it and it's easy. By the way, that's how I do it, is through QuickBooks. So those are the things that I'm just thinking about. Those are things that I might want, and some of those things you may want. So hopefully you wrote down the ones that you feel are things you're going to look for, and just make sure you check off the boxes when you're looking at the different software programs. Maybe during that process you thought of some other things that you might want. And so if that's the case, write those down as well, because you're looking for those when you are choosing the software program you're going to work with. Now, let's do a software comparison. Are you guys familiar with Capterra.com? I'm going to share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. So Capterra, and I've already entered in, and I mentioned earlier you may want to use photography studio software because studio management software can mean a lot of things, and so when you are doing a comparison, enter in photography studio software. Photography studio software. You'll see that it has found 80 different ones. There's a ton. And Capterra doesn't have all of the options available in it because it takes time for Capterra to go through and evaluate all the different software companies out there. By the way, it's an amazing product, not just for choosing your studio management software program. For any type of software, this is a fantastic tool to be able to compare and contrast different software programs so that you can choose the one that you feel is the most ideal for you. Capterra.com. So that's what I'm showing you right now. At least I think it is. Yeah. Cool. All right. So you can see, by the way, Acuity is not just for photographers. It is a scheduling program, but it is made for a lot of other businesses too, types of businesses. It doesn't make it bad. It's still very good, very popular program. But Honeybook, that's one of my favorites. I'll share with you my favorites here in just a little bit. And Review Studio, Together Now. Some of them are new and that don't have any things in here yet. And it's probably a fantastic program, but I've never looked into that one in particular. Sprout Studio, one of my favorites. PicMonkey, Visita, and there's some good things here, but there's on both of these, but they're not in my top. I'll share with you 6 of my top favorites. In fact, why don't I click on Compare? You can see a screen that opened up. I can compare 4 at a time. So I go and keep on looking for the ones that I want to compare. And I'm going to do this for you real quick in IrisWorks. There's a bunch, but those are 3 on my list. I'm going to compare those now, and you can see what the pricing is on each one of them. And don't let that bottom line pricing affect your thoughts at all, because you don't want the baseline product. You don't want it. You want the one that is a little bit, that has some more stuff in it, because they have tiers. Most of them do, not all of them. Some of them are just have one thing. But so don't think, oh, $9, that sounds really good, I'm going to go with that. Maybe you will, but don't let that be a major influencer. Look down a little further and find out, 1 to 10 users, 500, 1,000. Emerging favorite, so that's some recognition that they've gotten. Honeybook is very active in social media. They have an active Facebook page, so if you like that kind of support, Honeybook's great. We'll go over that here in a second. Screenshots, we'll go to some of these here in just a minute if I've got some time. Here's the features. All right, so appointment scheduling. What? Sprout Studio doesn't have that? This is interesting because I know someone who uses Sprout Studio who does have appointment scheduling. So I'm wondering if maybe that's an oversight or maybe it's because there's a third party that helps him with it. I don't know, but he uses it and he has appointment scheduling. So that's one thing I don't know for sure about. But this has, marketing automation. I want marketing automation. So that makes it where I probably won't choose this one if I were to be narrowing it down to just one, because I want marketing automation. Irisworks doesn't have it. Sprout Studio does. You can see that all of them have good ratings, high fours. Pros and cons. Take a look at all these different things. Development, support. Um, Sprout Studio is cloud-based, which a lot of people appreciate. A lot of people prefer cloud-based. But that doesn't mean they don't want these other things. For instance, don't you want support on your phone? Because I do. Now I'm leaning towards Honeybook. Yep, you're going to go back and forth on these because none of them have everything. Pixify might have pretty much everything, but most of them don't have everything. Dubsado is really fantastic too. We're going to go over those here in just a moment. So you can see some alternatives, some comparisons, and things, but there's you can tell how old they are. You can see all of them started less than 10 years ago. I say all of them, all the ones in this particular comparison, not all of them. So this might be a concern too. Located in Canada, if you have if you're paying with a debit card, a bank debit card, a lot of bank debit cards will not charge outside of the U.S. without some extra steps involved. And so that might be a concern of yours. I consider that a really minor concern because it doesn't take long to solve that particular problem. You'll recognize the problem very quickly and you'll call your bank and you'll solve it. No big deal. But it is a consideration. Maybe you prefer working with US companies. Okay, then there you go. But this is, again, Capterra.com, and this is their comparison feature. So cool. So let me, yeah, that's right. Yeah, good point. Capterra is not perfect. It does miss things sometimes. Yeah, it does. It does. And because it's people who are doing it, and they have a lot of things to go over, and things do change. So if a software company, let's say Sprout Studio made a change, how soon does Capterra hear about it and make the change on their website? Time consuming, very time consuming, because not only do they receive it, but they confirm that it's true. And they have a list of others that they're getting to first. So very time consuming. Yeah, they're not getting to it right away. Thank you for sharing that, Miguel. All right. Now let's go over my favorites. Stop that screen sharing for a moment. I wanted to share some of my favorites. I've got 6 of them that I've listed here. Let's start off with Tave. This is by Shootproof. Some of you have heard of Shootproof. So let's go to their website real quick. And this is just to see their front page. We're not going through each one of these software programs. That would take way too long. But this is just so that you have an idea, so you can picture what's going on here. This is their marketing. I'm not saying this, but Tave is the most customizable studio management solution for photographers. And maybe it is. But then again, if you were the marketing team, wouldn't you say stuff like that? Of course. So you be the judge. They may be totally correct, but you be the judge. You know how it works. You can schedule a 30-day free trial. I would say schedule a demo, though, with your favorites. I'm only showing you my favorites. They may not wind up being yours. So, Tave. Dream it, you can build it. They've got contact forms, a client portal, meaning the client can get into certain pieces of information. Workflows, automation, invoices. Definitely want invoices. Quotes, contracts, template gallery, yay. Leads and job reports. I want to be able to see the reports. I want them to be easy. Questionnaires, yep, okay. So a lot of good stuff in Tave. Take a look at that one. The next one I want to show you is Pixify. So let's go to Pixify. All right. Stop screen. Share screen. All right, so here's Pixify. Business management software for all different types of creatives. It is not just for photographers, um, but it is the person who owns it was a photographer. He just expanded it into several different areas. But you can see the example is photography. An online booking system, got to have it. In my opinion, got to have it. Not everything is done that way, but got to have it. Here's the appointment scheduler in different ways. The Google Calendar syncing, definitely have to have that. Contracts, fantastic stuff. But just scroll through, take a look at everything. Here's the workflow visualizer. That's one of the reasons why I like this program so much, by the way. Event timelines. This is really cool stuff. I get excited about this one. I get excited about all of them, but this is just super cool. If I were to pick a top one, it's probably Pixify. But there's so many reasons why I like the others that I can't tell you which is going to be the best. But you can see their pricing range is between $30 and $140. Is that right? Yeah. That little 0.99 is supposed to be up here. I guess it ran out of space. But if I make my window a little bit bigger, it'll probably, it doesn't matter. Nope, didn't change anything. All right. So that's Pixify. Again, just go through there. Start with the free trial, but I definitely would recommend watching the videos that they have. Those videos have been there for a while. I saw them 2 years ago, but still good stuff. And they do update their stuff. This isn't getting stale and old like some programs are. So Pixify. Next one on our list is going to be Honeybook. So let's share the screen for Honeybook real quick. There we go. So when you go to Honeybook, this is the screen that you'll see to begin with. And this is their dashboard. So this is the thing. These are the things you see when you go into it, and this is fantastic. You see the projects that you're working on. You can see if there's any new inquiries that you need to be working on. Invoices, what's overdue, what payments have been made recently, the task that you have to do, and you can click on that. The calendar, reporting, got to have reporting. Fantastic program. Honeybook is one that a lot of people get really excited about. And I would say they're probably the best with their social media interaction for clients. They have a very active Facebook group supporting, people who are supporting other Honeybook users. So if you like that, then this may be the one for you. Easily click on the pricing, find out the different features that they have. I'd like to spend more time with that, but there's too many of them. So that was Honeybook. Let's move to Dubsado, and Dubsado is the favorite of the Texas Professional Photographers Association. So that's the one that they will recommend if you were to just call and ask. At least they have in the past. Who knows? They may change, but Dubsado's been their favorite, and it's plain and clear as to why. They have some of the best reporting of any of these programs. The behind the scenes stuff, reporting, so you know what's where and where things are in the process. Fantastic reporting from Dubsado. Take a look though. More business, less busy work. Yeah, we kind of want that. We absolutely want that. So, I'll read it. Dubsado helps your business stay in motion. Yay! Build relationships, schedule appointments, and schedule workflows to streamline your projects from start to finish. Sounds great. So I would suggest that you book a demo. You take a look. Someone can walk you through it. Fantastic program, Dubsado. Next one I want to go over is Sprout Studio. And let's go to their website real quick. Here we go. Hey, photographer, what more creativity and less nitty-gritty? Use Sprout Studio as your secret weapon and make a living doing what you love. Good job, Sprout Studio. That sounds wonderful. Yeah. So, take a look. Take a look. See if this is the right one for you. Maybe it is. Maybe one of the others are. Take a look at Sprout Studio, though. Every one of these that are in my top 6, you're going to see something about it that you really like. And you may have a very difficult time deciding which one you want. That's why I had you do that step before where you write down all the things that are important to you so that it's easier to make your decision. Because all these things, all the programs, they are so good. And any of them are good. By the way, once you've made your choice, stick with it. And make a choice relatively quickly. I'd say today. Right after watching this, go through, make a list of all the things that are important to you, and make a choice today. Don't put this off. This is something, there's so much information that you could be spending all of your time in research. And what good does that do you when helping out your clients, when spending time with your clients, when you're creating beautiful photographs to make your clients cry tears of joy? All right, the research doesn't help with that. Choose the one you feel is the best one for you. Go with it. It is the best one. Go with your gut. Do it. All right, so the next one I want to show you is 17 Hats. 17 Hats is not built for photographers. It was built for creatives and lots of different businesses, but a lot of photographers really, really do like this particular program. And so that's why it's on my list, is because of popularity. I have had 17 Hats myself. I don't feel like it's the best one for me. However, I understand thoroughly why people do believe it's the best one for them. This is why I'm including it. So 17 Hats, here we go. Make 22 the best year yet. We want that. Ditch the paperwork. Book like a boss. Organize your life. Get paid quicker. Automate your workflow. Grow your business. Yep. All the above. We want those things. So take a look at this. This may be the thing for you. You can see the different types of businesses, photographers being on here, but lots of other businesses do very well with this. Dog trainers, maybe you do that on the side. I know a photographer who trains dogs. She may be watching today. So this may be the one for her. She sees that and goes, oh, really? Oh, that sounds great. What are the odds? A software management, a studio management software program that does both your photography business and your dog training business. Yeah. Yeah, if it's the one, it's the one. That's 17 Hats. Definitely a good program. Definitely has been around for quite a while. Next one I want to show you is IrisWorks. So and again, I have a couple of students who think that IrisWorks is just the best. And one of them switched from one of the ones I mentioned to IrisWorks. The reason is something specific to her, so I'm not going to share it. But let's see, there it is. There's IrisWorks, photography business management software. That's what they do. And do you see, 15 other things that they work with also? Because they do photographers. Now, Iris company does have other programs. They just have them all separated. Whereas some of these that you saw, like 17 Hats, had 15, 20 different things that were listed that they work with. Iris has a different website for all the different companies they work with. Different way of doing business. By the way, for photographers that have multiple different things they do, if something doesn't really align well, I would separate them out with different websites. And I gave an example earlier, boudoir and family portraits. I would have 2 totally separate marketing messages for each. And there may be a little bit of overlapping in the target market, but I don't want that to be, I don't want them being on the same page. I don't want the same information there. I don't want the kids going onto the boudoir section. That's me. So Iris, and this is the website there so that you can take a look at it. So Iris, good stuff. Iris works. I like them. Stop screen. Now let's talk about, I think that was the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Ooh, that was 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I didn't intend to give you 7. Hey, you got a bonus. Good for you. So that's interesting. Now let's talk about homework. You've got homework to do. There's always homework to do. There's always more stuff that needs to be done. So let's talk about those. And this is basically a review. Review your business goals. This is the first thing I want you to do. Review your business goals. Again, if you have not written them, take the time to write them. Review your mission statement. All of your statements, your mission statement, your value statement, your vision statement. I do recommend to my own students that they have a positioning statement, but I don't necessarily include that when I'm doing the general, when I'm talking to a general class. So mission, values, vision, potentially a positioning statement, and a description of your target market. If you have these already, which you really should, just review them before choosing a software management service, software program. If you have it, review it. If you don't have it, create them. You need to know your business goals, what you're all about. Second thing on your homework, there's a total of 5. Second thing, review your business processes. We talked about them. Again, if you have not done them, you need to create them. It's going to make it so much easier to choose your your studio management software program if you know what you're all about, what your processes are, and defining the things that you want out of your studio management software program. So define what you want. This is number 3. Define what you want in your studio management software program. Define what you want. And then use a comparison tool. We went to Capterra today, capterra.com. But you can also do a comparison just using Google. So do a comparison of the ones you've narrowed it down to. By the way, if you already pretty much know which one that you want, you may not need to do a comparison. But if you need a comparison, use a tool to help you out with that. And like Miguel said, they aren't perfect. They can't be updated they're not perfectly updated. There's going to be things that is missing. So don't rely on the comparison. Use it as a starting point. Next, so that was number 4. Now number 5. Choose one, download it, enter your information into it, use it. Give it 100%. Don't jump into it thinking, well, I'm just going to stick my toes in and see how this works. Maybe I'll switch to another one. It takes way too long to get this stuff started. Seriously, takes a lot of time to get these things going. Do not be moving back and forth between them. You're going to go crazy with that. And you certainly aren't serving your clients when you do. Choose one. Give it 100%. It is the right one. Your gut is right. Choose it, enter in your information, learn about it, watch videos, YouTube videos about it. They probably have their own page with a lot of different helpful tips, suggestions, how-tos, articles, all that kind of good stuff. Learn everything you can about it. And if there's a little something that you'd want to tweak or you don't like, reach out to them. They are very likely to make a change. They rely on their clients for these updates to make things better. So if there's a little something that you don't like or don't care about or wish was a little bit better, or maybe it would be better if this was over here instead of over here, ask them. Ask them. You're supposed to have good relationships with all your vendors, right? How's this any different? Yeah. Choose the one you want and commit 100% to it. Those are the 5 steps for your homework. So, do you guys have any questions for me about your software Oops, I meant to do this one. Software management program, your studio management software. Anybody have any thoughts or questions about that? I would have assumed that you would have asked them when you had them, but just in case. So before I go into anything else, you guys got that link to the business assessment consultation. It's further up in the comment section, posts. The lunch with Landers is there. Take advantage of that. I want to fill up my calendar. I think my calendar is full through early March on the lunch with Landers, but I have a whole lot more spaces available in the business assessment consultation. You could get in even as soon as this week. Yep, because it's only half an hour. So take advantage of those. Use those links. All right. Now, I know that Amanda would appreciate it if I shared a couple of things with you. On January 20th, the Greater San Antonio Camera Club is having a print competition at Digital Pro Lab, physically at their location. And you would just bring a mounted or matted print to participate. So this is January 20th. That's this week at 6:30 at Digital Pro Lab. So write that down. You can go to the Greater San Antonio Camera Club website, and I can't remember the address, but if you enter that in Google, the Greater San Antonio Camera Club, doing a Google search, you'll find the web address really quickly, really easily. So that is this week, January 20th. Let's see what else is coming up. Next week, the Espresso and Edits. That's Saturday, January 29th. So not this week, not even next week. It's the following at 2 p.m. at the Photo Center, which is new, at 724 South Alamo Street, Suite 3. Go to thephotoCenter.org for more information about Espresso and Edits. It's not Espresso, it's Espresso. There's an S there. Espresso and Edits. Saturday, January 29th. Put that on your calendar. And there's also, and I didn't make a banner for it, but at the Briscoe Western Art Museum this weekend, Saturday at 2 p.m., 2 to 4, there is a photographer. There's going to be two photographers there, but one of them has work up and the other is a moderator. But two photographers will be there, and they will be talking about photography, about how to create images in the Old West and Old West style, but it's the history of the cowboy. So really cool. Briscoe Western Art Museum, and there's not an extra fee for it. I say extra on purpose because there's a fee to get into the museum, but there's not an extra fee in addition to that to see this presentation. But I definitely recommend you put that on your calendar. If you don't have something scheduled already for Saturday, do this. Briscoe Western Art Museum, 2 p.m. You can go to their website. Just Google Briscoe Western Art Museum, downtown San Antonio. And go 2 to 4. I'm planning on going right now. There's something that could cause that not to happen, but right now that's my plan is to be there. So you'll see me. I'm very interested in what these photographers have to share. So again, that's this Saturday, 2 p.m. at the Briscoe Western Art Museum. Yeah, there we go. So was the address I have different than that, or is it not correct? Let's take a look. Is it thephotocenter.org? Well, it's either thephotocenter.org or photocenter.org, one of the two. So enter that into your browser to get more information about that one. Thank you for commenting on that, Miguel. Yeah, perfect. Well, I also want you to put on your calendar next Monday, because every single Monday is the Portrait Profit Show, coming to you live. And this is something that is benefiting you, is something that's benefiting photographers, even those that aren't here. Being here is uplifting for everyone. And the reason is because you are being observed, you are being watched. People do go to your website, they do go to your social media. These are other photographers. They're seeing what you're doing. If they like if they see photographs they like of yours, if they see your marketing, they're checking you out. And everything you do to make yourself better, to uplift yourself just a little bit, uplifts them too. So thank you for being here. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Miguel. So thank you guys for being here at the Portrait Profit Show. There's probably something else that I'm supposed to remember that I haven't. I'm going to check one thing to see. Okay. Uh, when did that go out? That one. There we go. All right. So I am checking this one more thing. Oh, about that Saturday at 2 o'clock. Yeah, Saturday the 22nd. Oh, you know what? I mentioned earlier that the 29th was 2 weeks away. That's only 2 Saturdays away. I mean, hopefully I said that right. Anyway, so this Saturday, the 22nd at 2 p.m., the Briscoe Western Art Museum. Let me read what they said. It's short. Celebrate the birthplace of the modern cowboy. This is a photo exhibition called Vaqueros de la Cruz del Diablo, with photographers Warner Segarra and Joel Salcido. Again, that's January 22nd, this coming Saturday, 2 p.m. I'm planning on being there. That should be a lot of fun. All right. I want to thank you guys again for being here today. Each time that you are here at the Portrait Profit Show, you're uplifting me. Each time you click that like button, click that love button, make some comment that makes me feel good about what it is that I'm doing, you're uplifting me to continue what it is that I do. So thank you for all that you're doing. Thank Digital Pro Lab for all that they're doing, and Amanda and her team are doing so much to help out photographers, not just by creating beautiful prints and different products, but by including all the different things they do within the photography community and beyond that help lift us all up. So there's a lot of people who are doing a lot of great things, and we sure do appreciate it. So to end today, choose that software program, implement it, get it going. But you have to know who you are and what it is you're doing, your business. What is it your business is trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? What are your missions? What's your values? What's your vision? Who you want to work with, your target market. What things do you want your software program to include? And then choose the software program 100%. There's no dipping your toes into this one. You make your choice and you stick with it 100%. Give it all you've got. Put a bunch of time into it right at first. You will be glad you did. Procrastinating on this one, guys, not a good idea. Not a good idea. Choose that software program and then let me know. Come back to this page and tell me which one you chose. Can you do that for me? You're doing it for you. And it'll be a good thing. You'll be thanking me. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, this is Jim Landers bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show, giving you evolving content, awareness, and even fun to the business side of photography. We provide helpful information, step-by-step processes, how-to articles, and action steps that will help you with the struggles you deal with now so that you are constantly realigned to the path that leads to the success you deserve. Thank you guys. Bye for now.